Alright, so recently on January 29th of this year, which is 2024, if you're watching this in the future, Elon Musk announced on Twitter that the first human patient has already received the Neuralink implant and is recovering well, and that initial results show promising neural spike detection. Spikes are activity by neurons which use electrical and chemical signals to communicate within the brain and body. That caused quite the interest and news reaction online. However, when it comes to Elon, a lot of people talk about the man and the individual rather than the science and the discovery. A lot of this stuff comes from the team, and I think the teams involved should have more of a focus. Lots of work being done by the teams and the scientists. The FDA did approve Neuralink for human trials last May after the company had done extensive trials. They've done trials on animals with studies on monkeys and a lot of extensive research. One more thing, really helps me out if you like and subscribe, helps me get noticed by the algorithm, and it's great for helping me expand my content and making things better.
High time I grown the fuck up.
I think one thing to get straight, and let's calm down before we go into the cyberpunk dystopia or whatever, is that the research and others like it is a massive step forward for neuroscience and for the brain research in general. It's going to be a big step for those who are suffering from paralysis or who have lost a limb or who have some type of neurological or neurochemical disorder that they need help with. As with most medical trials, the initial trials will be mainly focused on safety. This is the case with vaccines or with other chemical or other treatments. I wanted to address an elephant in the room, or rather a monkey. Now, from my research and what I've heard from someone who works on neuroscience with regards to the monkeys dying and the controversy surrounding that, is one thing is that they were using terminal monkeys, so that would be monkeys at the end of their lifespan. So let's say they have a sickness or something that will make them die soon. The second part I wanted to address was the implant itself and whether there were problems caused by the implant itself or infections around it. So normally in traditional neuroscience experiments, from what I've heard, is monkeys are fitted with a pretty large implant. So normally when that happens, the implant would protrude about an inch from the skull. And to protect those devices, the scientists would construct a kind of shield using dental cement. Now that setup normally works fine even if the monkey scratches his head as the skin heals. It only touches the cement, which is protecting the implant and not really causing infection. Now with Neuralink, it is more cutting edge, but with cutting edge sometimes there is risk involved or unforeseen issues. Since the implant is pretty small, it fits snugly inside the skull, so it's completely out of sight under the skin. It's a pretty big leap forward in terms of being smooth and really hidden within the head. Now the problem comes is they didn't anticipate that the monkey would feel the itch that comes from the healing skin around the implant and would scratch right where the implant was. So unlike old devices which would be shielded by the cement, the hidden implant was vulnerable. So the monkeys would be scratching where the implant area was, and then that leads to infection because the implant is fresh, and when the implant is just implanted, you want to leave that alone and let it heal properly. But that didn't happen because you wouldn't expect a human to scratch their new implant. But of course this is monkeys, so that didn't go down how they wanted to. But it's a reminder that when you have new technologies, you have to try and foresee things and trying to anticipate where things could go wrong. Now, there was controversy over whether Elon had rushed the team, and I think that could be valid criticism based on what I've seen. However, we have to keep in mind that that criticism is about Elon Musk rather than his research team. So we have to find a way to separate those two and see how we're gonna judge this project and judge the research. Neuralink isn't the only one. There's been Synchron, which recently had human testing, in fact before Neuralink, but we have to see how these turn out, and this can be very good for people who are disabled or who need help in issues with the brain or the spine. Of course, keep in mind more testing is needed, and we'll have to see how this goes. So unfortunately, you have to wait a while before getting that rocket launcher cyber arm from 2077. Alright, I'm out for now, and good night, or good morning, and goodbye.